Good morning, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining us today at our first division update for the Motion Picture and Theatrical Trade Division. My name is Lindsay Doherty. I'm the Principal Officer of Teamsters Local 399 out of Hollywood, California. I'm also an International Vice President out of the Western region, and I'm proud to serve as the Director of the Motion Picture and Theatrical Trade Division. We are going to have a brief update for you today. The chat will be closed, just know that, but the Q&A box will be open, so you'll be able to ask questions throughout the presentation today, and we will get back to you after the meeting is closed. So please feel free to leave a question. I'm also proud to announce that we have our General President, Sean OBrien, on the call today, as well as our General Secretary Treasurer, Fred Zuckerman. And, you know, for me as a member of Local 399 and rank and file, I've been in this industry for almost 20 years. It's also great to have a general president that is very familiar with our division, and he has also personally worked in the motion picture division. And as you can see throughout the last 6 months, Fred and Sean have been traveling the country, visiting our members, not only in other divisions, but in the motion picture division. So without further ado, I'd like to present to you today our General President, Sean OBrien, to say a few words to you all.
Thank you very much, Lindsay, and I appreciate all your hard work, not only as a General Executive Board member, but also reestablishing the film theatrical division. You've done great things, you and your team, and very, very excited about the direction that this division's going in. The motion picture division is home to over 15,000 rank and file members throughout North America. And it couldn't be in better hands than under the leadership of Lindsay Doherty, our Western Region Vice President. Lindsay hit the ground running as Division Director, implementing a new structure to support the 74 Teamster locals that represent members in the motion picture industry. She has put together an experienced team that understands the industry. We have restructured the division with a new regional approach to better represent the membership. The division is committed to identifying new targets and finding new creative ways to organize within this industry. Lindsay is also working to standardize agreements to ensure all are covered and up to the Teamster standard in the motion picture industry. She's had tremendous success doing that in 188 days. Our members in the motion picture division are essential to any production. Motion picture Teamsters are skilled, dedicated workers who are critical to keeping this industry running. We have an opportunity to flex our collective strength in Hollywood and across the country through organizing and bargaining the strongest contracts in the industry. We need to fight for better tax incentives in state houses and build alliances with our brothers and sisters, part of all other entertainment industry unions. This past summer, Lindsay and I reaffirmed our mutual aid and assist pact with IATSE to bring even more union strength to the entertainment industry. We are unifying the division and working together in a way that hasn't been done before in this unique industry. Earlier this year, Lindsay negotiated a new Black Book agreement with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, known as the AMPTP, for over 5,000 motion picture Teamsters across the 13 Western states. She also bargained a location managers and casting directors agreement with the AMPTP with historic voter turnout and ratification margins. When we bargain together with an engaged membership, we can win stronger contracts and create more opportunities for our members. We also must be vigilant when it comes to enforcing these contracts. This is a must in every division, but especially in the motion picture industry. In the motion picture industry, where the job is constantly changing, having informed, educated members is a must in keeping your locals strong. The division is committed to keeping our members informed and educated. In this fast-paced, constantly changing industry, we have to adapt with new technologies. This is a high-profile industry, and we have an opportunity to increase the visibility of motion picture Teamsters across North America. Fred and I have already met with motion picture industry Teamsters across Los Angeles and Montana, and we're looking forward to upcoming trips to visit New York, Atlanta, New Mexico, and many others. We have a vision to grow this division like never before, and we're going to be the face of the production moving forward. But we can't do it without the support of our strongest members, and that is our rank and file members who go to work every day in this industry. We need to make certain that we are fighting one direction, one vision, one goal, and that is to make the motion picture industry under the leadership of Vice President Doherty the envy of all. So look, I'm very excited about the future. I know Fred Zuckerman and I speak every single day about every single division, but this division has tremendous opportunity. And look, we couldn't do it without the support of our rank and file members. I want to thank the division for all their hard work. I want to thank Lindsay for her leadership. But most importantly, I want to thank you all who go to work every single day and make the Teamsters as strong as ever. Bigger, faster, stronger is our motto, and we're going to make sure we get there with every single division. So with that, I'll turn it back over to our Western Region Vice President, Lindsay Doherty.
Thank you, General President O'Brien. So as he mentioned, there's a lot of changes that have happened, and I'm going to go through our agenda today. We're going to begin with introductions and move on to our priorities for, I'm just having some technical difficulties here. Okay, there we go. All right, and we're going to go over our priorities and looking ahead at our organizing targets and how we can build this division and how you all can get involved. First and foremost, I'm going to start with the introductions. This division is being restructured in a way it's never been structured before. It used to only have the division director and assistant division director. So as I mentioned before, my name is Lindsay Doherty. I'm the division director. We have Ron Schwab, who is the assistant division director. He's been in this position for many years, and he's been around the motion picture industry since the early 90s. So he's very well experienced. We now have newly restructured the division with these regional reps, which I'm going to begin with the Western region. We have Joshua Staley out of local 399. We have Jim Parnello out of the Central region, out of my home local, Detroit, local 337. We have out of the Southern region, Vinnie Thrift out of local 728. And in the Eastern region, we have Brian Salamone and Jimmy Whalen out of Teamsters local 817. And then we also have internal staff working from the IBT as well to help assist with our division. We have Natalie Quezada out of the IBT office. She is our office manager to help facilitate with the complaints and other issues or questions that you may have that are directed towards the IBT. And then we also have a new department at the IBT, which is strategic initiatives. We have Daniel Moskowitz and Amy Gordon who help facilitate the things that you see out there, whether it's the social media, the IBT magazine, or anything else that's being highlighted. That's those two that are making the magic happen behind the scenes. So with the priorities that we have for the division, it's really first and foremost building the solidarity amongst the rank and file around the country. And so we have been visiting members. I myself have gone to Cleveland and New Orleans. I'm making my way to New York as well as Atlanta with our general president and general secretary treasurer, as Sean mentioned earlier today. I will be making the rounds throughout the country. We've been doing it in the 13 Western states as well, New Mexico. And so we also want to highlight our members that are working in the industry, which you may have seen. There's a lot of features that, as I mentioned before, in the IBT magazine and on the website. There's something right now about the Montana visit that we had with local 2. That's on the teamster.org page now. You can see that. And another thing too is just reaffirming, as Sean mentioned earlier, our mutual aid and assistance pact with IATSE. I mean, obviously we want to have the solidarity amongst our rank and file members, but we also need solidarity amongst the other unions that we work with day in, day out. IATSE has over 60,000 members in this industry. And we, as Sean mentioned, have about 15,000. So it's this is a union that we have to work with. Although we've had problems in the past, this pact is intended to move forward to resolve those issues so that we can be bigger, faster, stronger together with the other unions too, because some of their fights are going to be our fight as well. You saw last year how there was a strike threat with IATSE because they were at the bargaining table with the studios. And, that is a possibility that can happen again. So that's why we're trying to build the solidarity now. And then also moving forward with our contracts. We need to make our contracts stronger. We need to standardize these agreements and make certain that, we're getting what we deserve as Teamsters, whether it's strong wages and benefits. I know there's benefit structures that are different in every jurisdiction. We're looking at all of those contracts and benefit plans that everybody has because it is different. We have 74 locals, and I can't tell you across the board, it's not the same. And so we're trying to standardize that. We're working with the local union business agents, and we're just trying to establish something that's closer to whether it's a regional contract or a national contract. There's been many talks about this in the last, couple decades, and it's never been a success for the international, but now that we have an administration under Sean O'Brien and Fred Zuckerman, I'm positively sure that we can get to that point where we are not getting lesser wages than any other locals, and that we are consistent with our working conditions, and that we're covering all classifications that are traditional Teamster classifications that should be covered. We recently organized DOT admins and chef assistants. This is something we want to see that's across the board. We've done that in the 13 Western states, and some of the other locals in the East and in the South have those classifications, but we want to do this across the board because we don't want anyone else to take these classifications either, which has happened in the past. Another priority with the contracts is enforcing them. That's going to be helpful with standardizing these agreements and educating our membership, because we need help from you all. You're there, the boots on the ground. You see these things happen every day. But we are going to work with the local unions and help get these contracts stronger and help with the contract enforcement. And just know that you as a member, whatever jurisdiction you're in, you're going to be voting on these contracts. So you're going to be part of this process. Now, the second thing that we're working with the local unions on right now are these work or referral rules, which are unique to our division. It's similar to the construction division. There is not, a seniority system that's established in the contracts through the employers. So we have to have these referral rules. And so we're trying to create fair, concise, and consistent rosters and referral rules for all jurisdictions. And I got to tell you, this is a lot of hard work, but we're willing to do it, obviously. And we have the help of our legal team working on this now, because we want everybody to be hired fairly, and we want the procedures to be legal. And most importantly, when these rules are implemented, we want to make certain that all of the members are voting on these rules and that you're all aware of what the work rules are. The other thing too, with, which is really relevant in our industry, are these film tax credits in each state. And I will say that, this is something that's happened in the past several decades, starting with Canada. And in a lot of the states that, right now, like California, New York, Georgia, have very healthy tax credits. So there are other states that don't have the healthiest of tax credits, and they don't benefit Teamster members. So we are evaluating all of these credits, and we also want to make sure that the political and legislative action department is involved in this process. But we want to make sure that each local has, skilled and professional drivers or workforce, whatever classifications it may be. So we are going to be working with the local unions and the local politicians on this, because we don't want to be not part of a conversation with a tax credit that's not benefiting the Teamsters. We want to make certain that we are part of that conversation and that we are benefiting all of our members. And if there are tax credits, we want to preserve and extend those programs, because these are Teamster jobs. And we want to just create more good union jobs for the motion picture industry and expand our division. Now, part of that expansion is not just with tax credits, but it's also organizing targets, which we have, much of our industry is very well organized, but we do have these low budget productions that pop up. They really are focused on the central region and southern region. And we want to make sure that the Teamsters are part of that conversation. And if we have to shut a production down, we have to shut it down. If we have to bankrupt them, we will. We want to make sure that our members are getting fair wages and benefits on all of those productions. And not only that, we want to make sure all these classifications, as I mentioned, if they're not covered in the contract, like a chef assistant, we need to organize these classifications as well if we can't get it into our agreements. And there might be other classifications that we organize. We're not afraid of any fight, but those are the things that we're going to focus on in terms of our agreements moving forward. And then also these outside vendors that help facilitate production on a daily basis. You all have seen them. There's MBS, originated out of Los Angeles. It's Manhattan Beach Studios. They've been expanding throughout the country, and they've been expanding in Canada. And all of those folks that are doing these drop loads are non-union workers, and we need to organize them, as well as those other, companies like Cinelise and Herc that have studios now. They have studios everywhere, not only just in this country, but in the world. And so we want to make sure that those jobs are also union as well. So those are the targets that we're looking at in terms of, expanding this division and making certain that these are Teamster jobs. And I will say a lot of what we're doing right now is trying to, structure the division and obviously build the solidarity, but it all starts with you guys, rank and file members that are on the ground every day. We want to hear from you. We want you all to be involved. And I want to thank you all for being on this call. There's over 600 on this call today. We're going to have many more updates. You're going to have email updates about whatever we're doing, whether it's contract fights or any organizing efforts in whatever jurisdiction that you have. And then we're going to highlight the jobs that you do, because we do have a unique and high profile industry that we're working in, like Sean mentioned earlier, and we need to expound on that power, because we do have a lot of power in Hollywood, and we want to make sure that we're getting the best contracts. And again, we thank you for being here today, but we need everybody to be involved as much as possible. So if you're not signed up for emails, you can scan the QR code right there. You can also go on the Teamster website. You'll be able to find where you can sign up to get email updates, but expect to hear from us on a consistent basis. I will hope to see you all or meet some of you someday, but I just know that I will be traveling, much like our general president and general secretary treasurer have been doing. And I want to thank them for being on the call today and for the support, because it's really exciting for what we can do with this division. And it all starts from the top. We have the support not only from our general president and general secretary treasurer, but also from the general executive board. It's an exciting time in the labor movement. I can't wait to join the fight with all of you. Thank you so much for being here today, and enjoy your football game, whatever team you may be representing.